Amid economic uncertainty in Canada due to U.S. tariffs, Ontario has reached agreements with Saskatchewan, Alberta, and Prince Edward Island with the aim of taking steps to reduce trade barriers among the provinces. Ontario Premier Doug Ford signed separate memorandums of understanding with Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, and P.E.I. Premier Rob Lance in Saskatoon on Sunday ahead of the first ministers' meeting there.
So I'm proud to be here today with my friend, the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, to sign this M.O.U. and to improve Saskatchewan's partnership yet again. Another step in signing this partnership agreement with Ontario. A step that will again continue our effort in removing any and all trade barriers, not only with Ontario, but removing any and all trade barriers across the nation. These actions will not only strengthen our respective economies in Saskatchewan and Ontario, but they will benefit workers and businesses in each of our jurisdictions, and indirectly are going to greatly enhance the Canadian economy, understanding that our Canadian economy is a sum of the regional strengths and the regional economies that we have. So I'm excited by the opportunities ahead, and I'm confident that moving forward we will find even more common ground in advancing and improving our interprovincial trade relationship between Saskatchewan and Ontario, and continue, maybe even over the course of the next day or so, to advance our interprovincial trade relationship across the nation.
Ontario signed an M.O.U. in Manitoba in May and with Nova Scotia and New Brunswick in April. Our correspondent Wyatt Sharpe joined us for more on the agreement.
The province of Ontario has now signed MOUs with several of the other provinces. Now, an MOU really has to do, it's called a Memorandum of Understanding, and it relates to kind of this idea of free interprovincial trade, which really has been sparked, and a lot of discussions have been happening with respect to this topic after Donald Trump took office in January. And he kind of came in under this idea of an America First ideology, where he was really very much trying to prioritize trade within the United States from state to state. And so he actually introduced a number of ideas in his own right. And so Canada now was kind of looking to follow a similar kind of trajectory and pathway by ensuring that provinces have free trade with one another. This is something that people who are not in Canada right now oftentimes are surprised when they hear that the various provinces, despite being so similar to one another, do not have this in place as of right now. And I guess kind of, piggybacking, if you will, off of that point, even with respect to what the various provinces need to get from each other, you look at a province like Alberta that has a lot of oil and gas. This kind of MOU will make it so that Ontario is able to trade products with Alberta without having to pay some of the barriers that even foreign countries would have to pay. So that's one example. We are seeing some resistance, though, from a couple of provinces. Perhaps that's going to be brought up at some of the first ministers' meetings that are going to be taking place, even one happening today. And, that's really because if you look to a province like Quebec, obviously a province that very much is kind of grounded in separatist ideology, by, embracing this idea of free trade, that really goes against this idea of a more kind of nationalistic Canada. So certainly there's a lot of kind of moving parts to this, and we're going to stay on it. And certainly, again, we'll see how the ministers' meeting unfolds today.